3 years ago, I had this wild idea that one property could make me over $100,000 a year on Airbnb, and people literally laughed on my face. But for 6 months, I obsessively searched market, systems, listings, really just soaking in as much information as I possibly could to see how I would be able to do this and if it was even possible for me to do so. So this goal led me to pick up my very first Airbnb listing 3.5 hours away from my hometown, just so I could have a sliver of a shot at this. And this one decision forced me to build a bulletproof remote Airbnb business, with my first listing making me over $9,000 in revenue, to now, 2.5 years later, making over $100,000 a month with my full operational Airbnb business. And to be honest, all it took was that one spark, that first listing, that one listing, and everything changed from there. So in this video, I'm gonna share my full story. The struggles I had with self-doubt, the turning points, the limiting beliefs I had with myself that reflected in my business and reflected in my actual attempt at even starting this in the first place. And really just the wins and the successes I had along the way that was able to get me to where I am today. So if you've ever struggled with self-doubt or limiting beliefs, or ever even wondered if it's truly possible for you to rewrite the script that life gave you, let this be the sign that you might be next. So the moment I knew that Airbnb was going to be the business that I would go all in on was honestly with that first property. The amount of things I had to go through mentally, and honestly just all the voices in my surroundings, my people around me, my family telling me it wasn't possible, that was probably the hardest part. Me just having self-doubt along the way. Before even getting into Airbnb and starting my business, I had heard that Airbnb was this business model that people were making money with and retiring their parents with and really just like getting extremely successful with. But because I'd never tried it for myself, I didn't know anybody that was doing it. It took me a very long time to even build the confidence to actually go all in on this. But my first real breakthrough, and I'm going to be completely honest, my first real breakthrough was when I closed my first property, and within that first month I made $9,000. Like that for me was the sign that this is real. Like this is not only real, but I can scale this and I can really do significantly well with this. All my work had really paid off, and it was actually showing because this money was real in my account that I could see. And that was honestly the best feeling ever. And that was the thing for me that I was like, you know what, I need to go literally all in on this right now because there's an opportunity here that I need to take advantage of. But I'm gonna be honest, the reason it took me so long to even get to that first breakthrough was because of everything that led up to that point internally within my mind. But to be honest, it wasn't always like this. I didn't just wake up one day and decided that I wanted to be rich. It took a lot of mental battles, a lot of battles with self-confidence, a lot of battles with self-sabotage. And I want to talk about this very quickly because I think the reason it took me so long to even get to my first breakthrough was because of the amount of self-sabotage I had along the way to get here. Self-sabotage is this tricky thing that tricks you into believing that your progress and your success is actually a bad thing. When you're in your everyday life doing what you're doing, comfortable, and nothing's really changing, like you don't self-sabotage anything. Like you feel like you're good, everything is fine, and you're just moving in your day-to-day life. But it's only when you actually try to start achieving more or taking a little bit of risk or trying a new step that you start to feel like things are actually going to shit, or things are actually like the world is actually turning against you. And because you start feeling that way, you intuitively start self-sabotaging yourself to keep you at the exact place that you were. So what can that look like? That could look like you saying to yourself, you know what, this isn't possible for me. Maybe it's for other people, but no, like it can't be me. Or my time just hasn't come. I'm waiting for the right time to actually just make it happen. Like all these little things that we tell ourselves, all these little cop-outs that we tell ourselves just to make us feel better that, okay, maybe later, maybe one day I'll be able to get there. Maybe one day I'll be able to start my business. Maybe one day. But let me tell you something. That maybe one day will literally never come. There is no maybe one days. All you have is certainty right now. If you can break that habit and break that loop of waiting for that one day and decide that the situation is never going to be perfect, but the only thing that you can do about it is start now, and you will perfect it as you go. You will go so much further by just taking action and stop listening to those self-limiting beliefs and just move forward just one step at a time. When you start moving and ignoring those voices in your head that tell you to slow down, that tell you it's not possible, you will find yourself going so much further than simply waiting for the occasion to be perfect for you to move forward. That's a realization that I came to when I was working a full-time job. I said to myself, I could stay here and I could be very, very comfortable. Or I can go achieve my wildest dreams and take a risk. And when I looked at what the next 5 or 10 years were gonna look like at the time, and I believe I was like 22 years old at the time, when I looked at what the next 5 or 10 years were gonna look like, I was just depressed even thinking about it, to be honest with you. I did not want to stay in a place where all I could do all day was work all day, go home, eat, and then sleep, come back to work and do the exact same thing over and over again. My income was directly tied with my time. And I did not want to live in that. And of course, the money was good. Of course, money was coming in, and it had its perks and it had its benefits. But when I looked deep down, I knew that I could accomplish more, but I simply just had to break those loops, break those bad habits that were genuinely stopping me from even attempting to try something. Because the worst case scenario, if you try something new, is you end up exactly where you are. And that's one thing that you need to realize. Like, you could always just go back to what you're doing right now. You could take that full step, take that risk, and if it doesn't work out, worst case scenario, you just end back exactly where you started. So your worst case scenario for taking that leap is exactly where you are right now. Like, just let that sink in for 1 second. The worst case scenario for you is exactly where you are right now, because you can always just come back to your job. It might not be the same job, but it'll probably be another job that'll get you back around the same income stream. You might not have an income for maybe a month, but you're gonna get a job back. So the worst case scenario is you end up exactly where you started, but at least you have the confidence in yourself that you tried. And I'd actually argue that when you take that step and truly like believe in yourself and work towards that thing, the likelihood of you actually going back are actually extremely low. Like, truly, because you've taken that risk, you've taken that leap of faith for yourself, that I would actually argue that you're actually going to be better off and honestly, like, if anything, more confident in your abilities and in yourself, because you've been able to prove to yourself that you're the kind of person that will actually take action, even though you're scared to take action. That is the recipe of success, and that will be the recipe of your success. Now, stay with me, because I want to make this abundantly clear. Me getting to over $100,000 a month with Airbnb was 10% business, 90% my mind. Like, everything that happened within was the reason I either was going to fail in the business or succeed in the business. So the things that I'm talking about right now, I want you to truly understand that it's really just all a mental game. And once you can break that mental barrier, your success is going to come so fast that you'll have no idea how your life has changed. I've spent almost every single day questioning whether I was going to be successful. So it's not one of those things where you take action and one day you wake up and you're rich. There's going to be small mental obstacles or small mental hurdles that you're going to cross. You're going to have to be delusional enough to convince yourself that this is the path that you want to take because there's a goal that you want to achieve. And then all you now have to do is stack small wins on top of each other. Just small wins every single day. It could even be as little as, let's say you wanted to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning, consistently every single day. That could be your first win. Those small, consistent wins are going to build that confidence in yourself. And that confidence is what you need, so that when you say a goal that you want to be able to accomplish, your body and your mind will no longer fight you and tell you, no, it's not possible. They'll say, well, you've been the kind of person that's been waking up at this certain time every day. You know what? I think I believe you. And just that is going to be enough. Those small compounded wins, days, weeks, months, next thing you know, you're so much closer to your goal than if you just said, I want to wait for the perfect moment. This is how you achieve the things that you want to achieve, by moving forward, stacking small wins on top of each other, and then just letting those wins build the momentum. And once you have the momentum, it becomes so much easier for you to build off that success, because you've been able to now stack those days and stack that momentum to work for you. So once I had this significant shift in my belief, I needed something to test this on. I said to myself, okay, now that I think this is possible, and that came from watching a ton of YouTube videos, reading a ton of books, I now had all this information in my head about what I could do about rewiring my mind, all this mindset stuff, but I still didn't apply it on anything. This was before I even started my business, and I realized I need to see if this actually works. It's one thing to read about people being successful. It's one thing for me to talk about changing your mindset. It's a whole other thing to try it out yourself and then seeing what the results are for you. And I think that's where your biggest breakthrough will be from not only hearing these things, but also applying it and then seeing them work for yourself. Because I don't want to just sit here and talk at you, but I want you to realize that all you got to do is take that leap, try the thing, and then see for yourself. Don't take anything I say at face value. Try it for yourself and see what happens. And you're going to be astonished by the results that you get. And that's exactly what I did with Airbnb. I shifted all of that into my Airbnb business. And I said to myself, okay, let me see if this actually works. Let me go look at Airbnb and see if I actually can get a property making over $100,000 a year. Had I ever seen a property actually make $100,000 a year before, actually, really, like in person? No. I was so delusional, but I wanted to prove to myself that this was actually possible. And what better way to try it than to go all in on something so crazy, so out of this world, that it literally forces you to change, and it forces you to grow. When I got that first Airbnb property, and it was projected to make over $115,000 a month, I didn't even then, when I looked at the projections, I still didn't believe it. I'm going to be honest with you. I still didn't believe it was possible because I had never made over $100,000 a year without me working my blood, sweat, and tears for 60 hours a week. So having one property to be able to do this, I didn't think it was possible. But I just had to trust the numbers, and I just had to trust the data and trust the projections. And I just had to follow what the projections said. But then when I got that first booking 2 days after for about $1,000 for 2 nights, and then bookings just kept coming and then coming and then coming. And then I finished the month with almost $9,000 in gross revenue. Like that for me, I sat down and I looked at my phone and I stared at it. And the amount of thoughts and emotions that came down, seeing my phone and seeing that number on my screen, and realizing that every limiting belief that I had, every self-sabotage, everything that I said to myself that it's not possible for you, George, you need to wait for the perfect circumstance, this is going to be too risky. All of those thoughts at that instant were gone. And I realized that this entire time it was all in my head. This whole thing has been in my head the entire time, and none of it was ever real. The only reason it was real was because I made it real in my head and I projected that outwards. And then I just went all in because I saw it. I saw what I could do with this business, and I saw what it could do for myself and for my family, and I never looked back since. From there, I simply just replicated that exact same model. The beautiful thing about Airbnb is that with one house, it could take you maybe 30 minutes a day, an hour a day to really run and manage. But 2 houses isn't going to be double the time. You can do the exact same thing and still spend the exact same amount of time with 2 houses, with 4 houses. Maybe at 5 or 6 houses, it might require a little bit more time. And at 10 houses, it might require a little bit more time. But keep in mind, all of those are significantly less than working a regular everyday job. I promise you. So all I had to do now that I had my first listing was simply replicate this exact same process over and over and over again. And 2.5 years later, now we have 6-figure months consistently with our Airbnb business, simply just by replicating the exact same model from my first house. And I just duplicated that over and over and over again. Getting to $100,000 a year on my Airbnb business and really just scaling my Airbnb business wasn't because all I wanted to do was just buy Rolexes and go party all day long and just drink and do whatever the fuck I wanted all day. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. The reason I did it, for me, it's a little bit more foundational than that. Look, if you wanna make $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, even $100,000 a month and just party and drink alcohol all day and just like snort crack, I mean, go ahead and do whatever makes you happy. But the reason that I did it was because I truly, genuinely speaking, and I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart, I wanted to be the last person in my generation to experience poverty. I truly grew up with nothing. My family also grew up with nothing. Before I built my business, I had never even seen a successful business owner. I had never even thought it was possible. But I knew that deep down that I wanted this cycle of struggling, the cycle of self-doubt, the cycle of poverty, I wanted to end it. I wanted to end it, and I wanted to be the one to do it. And when I started seeing people online making money in all different types of businesses, and I started seeing that people my age, younger, older, were cracking some sort of code with making money online, I knew that I had to try something, not only for myself, but for the people around me, for my family, my parents, who put in their blood, sweat, and tears for me to really get to where I am today, which is just bringing me to this country. They had to grind and suffer just to get me to this country. And I said to myself, I owe it, if not to myself, then but to them. God, I used to play video games 12 hours a day. 12 hours a day, almost every single day, like it was my religion. So I know what it feels like to be in a position where you don't think it's possible for you to succeed, truly. But now I've been on the other side, and I'm going to tell you that it's possible. If anything, I think it's your birthright. because right now is the biggest wealth transfer that's literally ever happened. And you need to take advantage of this, because do you want to be the person that in 10, 15, 20, 30 years said to themselves, what if I did that, took that step? What if I tried that business, right? Anything that you want to do, it really doesn't even matter what it is. You just have to try something that resonates with you. The beautiful thing about Airbnb that I like more than honestly any other business is the fact that once you have a property or you have a listing, that listing pays you consistently. Most other businesses that you start from scratch, you have to wait a year, 2 years to even get that consistent income coming in, consistent revenue coming in. So you never really know what's gonna happen. So it's filled with highs and lows. Whereas with Airbnb, because you get your bookings ahead of time, you can actually start mapping out your entire life around the structure of that revenue. You know with a high degree of certainty that if your listing is going to make you $5,000 this month, it's most likely going to make you $5,000 next month and the month after that. And you actually have the listings that you have coming up to back that track. So that's why I geared towards Airbnb, because of the consistency in that revenue month over month that I was able to bank on to have even more confidence in this business model. At the end of the day, what I'm gonna leave you with is it all comes down to the beliefs that you have in yourself about if you think it's possible for you. If you truly think it's possible for yourself and then you back that emotion with action and you really take action towards it, you're gonna win. Because most people have the exact same drive, but they just don't act. And that's exactly what happens. Take that emotional state, act on it, and you'll see what happens. And that's exactly what I'm gonna leave you with. Take that emotional state and act on it. I promise you, it's possible to rewrite your script. The way you grew up and the money that you're making now doesn't have to be the money that you're going to be making forever. The job that you have now doesn't have to be the job they stay at forever. Your mental state that you have now, the weight that you're in right now, all of these things don't have to remain the same. You can change your life. You can make progress. You can start that business. You can do that thing. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be fast. It's not a get rich quick. And whoever's teaching you that you're going to be rich in 6 months, highly unlikely. But if you focus on one thing, go all in, tell all the voices in your head to shut the hell up for a year, you're gonna see how far you go. And honestly, your goal might not even be to make $100,000 a month. It could even be just to make $10,000 a month. And I've actually created a video on how to get to your first 10K a month with Airbnb, literally within a year. You can check out, it should be on your top right corner. But even if you don't even wanna get to $100,000 a month and you wanna get to just that $10,000 a month, like all of those things are possible. Just believe in yourself and take action. To end it all off, I want this to be your sign and your proof that it's time for you to lock in. You're now witnessing the greatest wealth transfer I've been able to do with Airbnb, and I'm only gonna get bigger and scale better from here. But I'm calling out to you watching this video, you specifically watching this video. You getting this far shows me that there's something within you that you align with in everything that I said. That you feel within yourself that it is possible for you as well, and it's something that you've always wanted, and there's a voice that's been pulling you to achieve something greater, but you've never really listened to it because of all the noise and because of all just the shit that goes through your mind. And it's happened for me too. But let this be the proof that you need to be next.